God is about to change the story of your life. Maybe you have been looking at your life and thinking, this is how it will always be. The same struggle, the same disappointment, the same closed doors, the same unanswered prayers. You have seen enough pain that you have started expecting pain. You have experienced enough rejection that you have stopped expecting acceptance. You have waited so long that hope itself has started to feel dangerous. But listen carefully. Your current chapter is not your final story. What you see right now is not everything God is doing. There are moments in life when God allows you to reach a place where you cannot fix anything by yourself. Not because He has abandoned you, but because He is preparing to show you what only He can do. You may feel stuck, but God may be positioning you. You may feel forgotten, but God may be preparing you. You may feel like nothing is changing, but behind the scenes, God may already be writing a completely different chapter. The Bible is filled with people whose stories change suddenly. Joseph went from a pit to a palace. David went from being overlooked to becoming a king. Moses went from hiding in the wilderness to leading an entire nation. Their beginning did not look like their ending, and your beginning does not determine your ending either. Maybe your life has been marked by mistakes. Maybe people have defined you by your past. Maybe you have made decisions you regret. Maybe you believe you have wasted too much time. But God is not limited by your past. He is not intimidated by your failures. He is not confused by your broken pieces. God can take the very chapter you thought was destroying you and use it to prepare you for the chapter that changes everything. You may not understand why certain people left. You may not understand why certain opportunities disappeared. You may not understand why your prayers seemed unanswered. But one day, you may look back and realize God was protecting you. God was redirecting you. God was preparing you. The door you cried over may have been the door that would have destroyed your peace. The relationship you begged God to save may have been the relationship He was trying to remove. The delay you hated may have been the protection you needed. And now, God may be bringing you into a season where your story begins to change. Not because everything will suddenly become easy, but because you will no longer face life alone. The same God who carried you through the darkest chapter is the God who can lead you into a new beginning. So do not give up. Just because the page you are reading feels painful, the author has not finished writing, and what looks like the end may only be the moment before God changes the story of your life. There is something you need to understand about God. He does not always change your situation first. Sometimes He changes you first. Before He changes the outside, He begins changing the inside. Before He opens the door, He prepares your heart to walk through it. Before He gives you the blessing, He teaches you how to carry it. And sometimes, the preparation feels like silence. It feels like waiting. It feels like nothing is happening. But silence does not mean absence. Just because you cannot hear God does not mean God has stopped working. A seed grows underground long before anyone sees the tree. And sometimes God is doing His deepest work in your life in places no one else can see. You may be looking at your circumstances, but God may be looking at your character. You may be asking, when will my life change? And God may be saying, I am changing you for the life I am preparing. Because if God gave you everything before you were ready, the blessing itself could become a burden. So He teaches you patience. He teaches you faith. He teaches you endurance. He teaches you how to stand when nobody is clapping for you. He teaches you how to keep believing when there is no evidence yet. And one day, you will understand why the process took so long. You will understand why some prayers were delayed. You will understand why some people could not come with you. You will understand why certain doors remained closed, because God was not simply changing your circumstances, He was changing your direction. Maybe you have been comparing your life to someone else. You see them moving forward while you feel stuck. You see their success while you are still waiting. You see their answered prayers while yours seem unanswered. But remember this: God does not write every story at the same speed. Your journey is not late. Your life is not behind. You are not forgotten. The chapter you are living right now may be necessary for the testimony you will one day share. The pain you survived may become the wisdom that helps someone else survive. The tears you cried may become the compassion that allows you to understand others. The season that almost broke you may become the season that made you stronger in God. So keep going, even if you cannot see the whole path. Take the next step. You do not need to know everything God is doing. You only need to trust the one who does. Because when God changes your story, He does not need permission from your past. He does not need approval from the people who doubted you. He does not need the circumstances to look perfect. God can create a way where you see no way. And the same people who only knew your struggle may one day witness your transformation. But do not live for their reaction. Live for God. Because the greatest change is not when people finally recognize you. The greatest change is when you finally realize God was with you the entire time. And if He carried you through the chapter you thought would destroy you, He can certainly lead you into the chapter you once prayed for. So if you are in a difficult season right now, do not assume that your story is over. Do not let one painful chapter convince you that the entire book is ruined. You have survived days you never thought you would survive. You have walked through moments that once seemed impossible to overcome, and yet you are still here. That means God has carried you farther than you realize. Maybe you are still waiting for the breakthrough. Maybe the answer has not arrived. Maybe the door is still closed, but your waiting is not wasted. Every prayer matters. Every tear matters. Every moment you chose faith over fear matters. God sees what other people never saw. He saw you when you were struggling in silence. He saw you when you smiled in front of people, but cried when you were alone. He saw the nights when you questioned everything, and even then, He did not leave you. You may have felt alone, but you were never abandoned. You may have felt forgotten, but you were never forgotten by God. And now, the chapter is changing. Maybe not in the way you expected, maybe not according to your timeline, but God is still working. Sometimes, the greatest change begins quietly. A new thought, a new direction, a new opportunity, a new strength inside your heart, a new peace that you cannot explain. And suddenly, you realize you are no longer the person you used to be. The things that once controlled you no longer control you. The people you once needed, you can now release. The approval you once chased, you no longer need, because God has taught you that your identity is not found in what people say about you. Your identity is found in Him. So when God changes the story of your life, He may not simply give you a better situation. He may give you a better understanding. You may finally see that the rejection was redirection, the delay was preparation, the loss was protection, and the waiting was building your faith. So do not stop believing now. You are closer than you think. The chapter may feel dark, but the author is still God, and God is not finished with you. Your past may explain where you have been, but it does not have the authority to decide where you are going. Your mistakes may be part of your story, but they are not the title of your story. Your pain may have shaped you, but it does not have to define you. God can still restore your hope. God can still renew your strength. God can still open a door. God can still change everything. So today, release the fear of what happened. Release the pressure to understand everything. Release the belief that your best days are behind you. And trust God, because the story is still being written. The chapter you are crying through today may become the testimony you thank God for tomorrow. You are not at the end. You are in the middle, and sometimes the middle is where God does His greatest work. So keep walking, keep praying, keep trusting, because the God who was with you in the beginning will be with you in the ending. And one day you will look back at your life and say, I thought God had forgotten me, but He was preparing to change my entire story. Your story is not over. Your future is not finished. And what God is about to do may be greater than anything you have imagined. Trust Him. The author is still writing, and the best chapter may still be ahead. If this message spoke to your heart, don't leave without subscribing. Subscribe to this channel for more powerful reminders of God's love, purpose, and plan for your life. And remember, your story is not over. God is still writing it.